something.
On today's episode, we're going to go visit Chris from Decompositions Corpse Creations. You may remember Chris from our last video.
I'm gonna use this jumping spider prop.
Yeah!
Donated to me by my friend Chris from Decompositions Corpse Creations. Thanks, bro.
No problem, man. Cheers.
This right here, this is gonna be really sweet, dude. Yeah, I mean, this would have been dope. This would have been super dope. The only thing is I broke it. I broke the prop. I broke the jumping spider.
You broke it.
My bad.
Yo, Chris, what are we making today, bro?
All right, we're gonna do some creepy shit. So I think you like some corpses and you like some, dead green gangly stuff. I got a little bit of everything in this thing we're gonna work on. So,
Well, of course we like that stuff.
no, bro.
All right, well, let's get started.
Okay, so we start this thing out by building a frame, right?
That's right. So what you want to do at this particular size prop, you want to make sure you put some weight in it. So you relatively want to get a 3 foot by 2 foot piece of OSB panel, and then you just want to use 1 by 1 inch. Nothing too heavy, not too light, to give yourself some stability on the base of the prop. And that's where you can attach your PVC pipe, and just using 2 to 3 inch screws. And there's no rocket science to it. You just kind of measure and cut it as the width that you want. Usually, rule of thumb, 2 foot by 3 foot is your base. Anything from that, you can pretty much eyeball as you need. All right, so what we're gonna do with this bad boy, we're gonna go with 2 full-size skellies. They're gonna be attached to the base, and we'll get to that later. Inside the skellies, we're gonna use about 6 or 7 foam pumpkins, or not pumpkin skulls, you know what I'm saying. They look like pumpkins, don't they? So that'll be like the filler inside the base, because it's gonna look like a tree. So the head's gonna fill in the spots where in between the skeleton parts and whatnot. All right. Once we get those in, we're gonna shape everything up with pool noodles. Get as many as you can, cut them up. Doesn't need to be anything specific. Just have fun with it.
My face!
And then what you're really gonna have fun with is the plastic. This is what you're gonna corpse with. Basically what I use is 0.7 mil. It's just drop cloth painter's plastic. Cutting it up in lots and lots and lots of strips. And that's when we do the creepy shit.
All right, so we got this thing skulled and layered up. So these skulls, these are foam ones that you poured yourself, right? So.
Yep, these are the ones you can get the mold, the silicone molds from Nightmare Makers, and you can make them with or without jaws, all that kind of stuff. And you take them, pour them. When they dry, just chop the backs off so they fit. And I got them all tucked in here, so when we start corpsing, they'll all just be attached to the whole surface of the prop itself. So.
What foam do you use when you pour these things?
That is a 2-part foam. There's it's like a base pour. It's like 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
You can get it on Amazon and stuff, but they have different brands. I don't even remember the name of the brand, but it's like a 2-part mix, and then each poured skull takes about 25-30 minutes to cure. So the more molds you can make at a time, the shorter time it takes.
Yeah.
So you imagine here, I think I did about 7 skulls. It took me about 4 or 5 hours, probably to pour them all.
All right, so skulls are in place. We got it wrapped. Next step, we're gonna heat gun this sumbitch.
Yep, we're getting ready to heat this sucker up. So give it a few hours and it'll be cooked to perfection. So as I like to put it,
All right, let's do this
we're ready to roll. Once you get this thing corpse all the way and you're satisfied that it's thick enough, there's no soft spots, all right, the thicker the better. The more layers, the thicker it gets. You want to black it out. You want to make sure it's a paint that sticks to plastic specifically. So, and this will probably take about 3 to 4 cans easily. So, we'll see how it looks here in a minute.
Man, even spray painted all black, this thing is looking dope. You can totally tell once you start painting this thing how all the details are gonna pop out. This thing is looking pretty sweet so far. I think next up we're gonna start dropping some color into this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and send this over to Chris so he can talk about his color scheme that he's got going on.
All right, so once we're done blacking this guy out with the black spray paint, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the acrylic paints. A couple of them, a good mix for a light color. I like antique gold. There's like a buttermilk kind of flavor, color, whatever you want to call it. Just a beige, whatever you can get from the craft stores. Don't get anything fancy. And then you just mix them. And a good thing to use them paint in are those caps from the Great Stuff, because you got enough of them floating around. This is what you do when you just do a dry brush, just your base light coat, and that makes all the black from the black paint pop. It gives you all the that's how you can tell your base details. So it's pretty cut and dry. Once we're done with the beige whiteout, green. I just start with a basic color green. Same thing, acrylic, nothing fancy. So the trick is dark, light, in kind of that order. That way you can see what details pop as you're putting each different color of paint on there. Just kind of like pick and choose where you want the details. Like, well, I'll look like, see how they got the pock holes and stuff like that? I might cover around those. And then the regular theme would be anything that had a hole, I would just hit around it. So before we finish some more layers of paint, we're gonna do some dental work. So the two heads of the skellies that are attached, those are the only two heads I'm gonna put actual teeth in, and that's just hot glue gun, and just go nuts. There's a couple ways you can do that. You can put them in with a, it's almost like a silicone glue to kind of attach them, and then hot glue them in, or you can just use one or the other. It's really not it's just preference. All right, so now we get to go for the lighter green over the dark green, and watch the details really pop out with that.
All right, so this is the top of this thing. So what are we gonna do to this thing? There's no skulls or anything in there. So what are we gonna pop some stuff in there?
So we're gonna do some eyeballs and give it some dental work. So I was thinking maybe put a few faces into some of the tree branches just to kind of creep it out a little bit.
Yeah.
To just add a little flavor to it. So here we go. Time to stain. All right. Not too light, not too dark. Do sections at a time so you don't forget what you did. The longer you keep it on, it'll stay dark. So you want to make sure you blot it and wipe it as quickly as you put it on, or it's going to take a lot longer to dry. That's the other main reason. So let's get into it here. Let's see. Just get a good once over. That's all you gotta do. Just enough to darken the paints that are already on. You should have had plenty of time to dry. All right, just take it and blot it. That's literally all you're gonna do. Don't be afraid to get into the crevices and whatnot. If you don't hit all the spots, that's okay too. And there you go.
This build is massive, so you gotta know when you're doing the stain like this, you want to do sections at a time, not large sections, because you want to get that wiped off before it dries. When you hit this thing with the stain, it really blends all those colors together. Also makes all the plastic and the skulls and everything just pop off this thing. That stain also really brings out the details in those foam skulls that Chris poured out of those molds from Nightmare Makers. It makes this shit look dope.
All right, so when we get done with the stain part, all right, this next process is basically the seal coat. And I usually try to use primarily a clear gloss, all right, exterior because it's better with weather and moisture and water and all that stuff. Get you about a 2-inch, like a latex brush because it's thicker, and go nuts. One good coat should do it, and then just let that sucker dry, you know, a day, day and a half tops, and it's pretty much going to be bone dry. Also, depending on if you're outside, it might take a little longer from the humidity. Inside, you shouldn't have any issues. So like I said, a day, day and a half tops, it'll dry completely.
Once that polyurethane top coat is dry, here's your finished product. This thing is massive. I'm talking massive. This tree of souls or whatever you want to call it. This thing is just an awesome build. It's a lot of detail that Chris puts into these things, man, and it shows in the finished product. That top coat, man, really brings the shine out in this thing, man. Gives it that slimy look. Looks freaking dope. I'm glad Chris had us out to build this thing, man. It was quite the experience.
Yo, Chris, man, this thing is epic, man. This thing is awesome. Thanks for having us out today to make this thing, dude. This is sweet.
Hey, no problem, man. It was fun working on it. Glad to have this.
Dude, man.
Looks awesome, bro. For real. Yeah.
So, hey, I meant to ask you, whatever happened to that spider prop? Did you ever fix it?
Oh, that thing. Let's see. Dude, it's Bruce Dickinson.
Oh. Fall for it every time.
He's fatty.
Hi kids, you like creepy stuff?
Yeah, yes. Creepy stuff is cool.